Hello and welcome to the Cornish Witch podcast. I'm your host Freya, a witch who lives in Cornwall but who isn't a born and bred Cornish maid. In this episode, you will discover the profound journey of Jenna, also known as the Alchemy Witch, as she shares her path of shadow work, spiritual awakening, and the importance of community and healing and self-discovery. This episode offers a unique blend of spirituality, psychology, and activism that invites listeners to explore their inner worlds and the collective energies shaping society. Jenna's holistic approach invites us to embrace the shadow aspects of ourselves, recognize collective energies, and harness ancient tools like tarot, crystals, and ritual to co-create a balanced, conscious future. Whether you're new to spirituality or deep in your practice, her insights illuminate pathways towards authenticity, community, and planetary healing. Jen, the Alchemy Witch.
Hello.
Welcome to the Cornish Witch podcast. And I say Jen, the Alchemy Witch, but you're also, my friend. So it's nice. It's like sitting down and having a chat with my friend on the sofa rather than
lovely, isn't it?
Yeah. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Good.
Just riding this horrible weird weather.
I know. I know they say like April showers bring forth May flowers, but I feel like we're still leaving March. What is it, in like a lamb out like a lion? I still feel like we're in that lion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the teasing of like, we have a couple of like nice days of sunshine.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, and we all come alive and like we're all happy. And then like the next day it's miserable again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just can't keep up with it.
No, it's unfun. So for my listeners, tell them a little bit about what it is that you do.
So as the Alchemy Witch, my practice is anchored very much in transforming our shadows and the things we've been through in our past and how we can kind of use that as lessons and growth to really step into self-transformation and our most authentic selves. So I use tarot and I combine that with crystal energy healing. Just using tarot as like a conversation point to open up that conversation. But a big thing for me is empowering people. So having people come through and it not just being about me talking at you and telling you what the cards say, but actually empowering you to get involved and read them for yourself and bring your own interpretations and really opening up conversation so you can reflect, because I don't want to gatekeep the magic of tarot or any of this stuff. It's something that all of us can access. It's a wisdom and a knowledge and a skill that we all can tap into, and I'd love to empower people to be able to do that for themselves. Like, actually, you don't always need to come and see me. Maybe you could buy your own deck and start learning for yourself.
Yeah. When you say working with shadow and working through past traumas that you might have been through, or that some people might have been through to help them become their most authentic selves, do you take from any sort of philosophers or other spiritualists, or like Carl Jung, for example, like psychotherapists for like shadow work?
So Carl Jung comes massively into tarot with like the archetypes and the storytelling. I suppose shadow work is a blend of lots of psychology and lots of practices and beliefs. But it's really tapping into those parts of our unconscious that maybe we've shut away or we've hidden away because we've put them into shame, or parts of ourselves that maybe we're not comfortable with looking at yet. So it's how can we tap into those parts of our unconscious to come back into conversation with our whole self and integrating those parts of ourselves back in, because I think in the spiritual world we throw around the term love and light a lot.
Yeah.
And actually love and light is beautiful and it's a massive part of it, but you also have to learn to walk your shadows and to integrate those parts into you so you can become whole and authentic. Yeah.
How would one, if someone was interested in journeying into their shadow side, but they perhaps felt a bit they're a bit, is the word anticipation? They're not anticipation, maybe anxious, or I don't know. I can't find the right verbiage, but
apprehensive
yes,
about what might come up. I suppose.
yeah. And also then like, well, I can't afford to have a mental breakdown because I don't have a financial frame to support it, you know. And how long does shadow work also take? Because I'm imagining it's not going to take 3 months. It's probably going to take, you know, years, especially if you have got a lot of, I make myself really comfy, especially if you have got a lot of, you know, a lot of trauma or a lot of stuff to work through.
You're absolutely right. Shadow work can be, well, it's a lifelong journey, because every time you think you've healed from one thing, you kind of experience something new in life that might leave you with something else to look at. So healing is an ever-growing thing, and actually it can become quite consuming. Like healing kind of becomes our identity, and actually it's really important throughout your healing journey to understand that you are acceptable and loved and perfect just the way you are, even though you're still walking the healing journey. So you are okay no matter what stage of the journey you're at. But in terms of the safety, I guess the starting point is actually anchoring down, like, what are the things that hold you in the safety? So if you're about to embody this work, do you have a strong enough community that you can rely on? Do you have grounding techniques or things that you do in your day-to-day routine that you know when things start spiraling that bring you back to that safety?
Yeah.
If you need community, there are places you can go and like do this work with other people and like be held in that love of other people. I think shadow work, the reason those shadows exist is like they're always there. They've always been a part of us. You've already lived and experienced the horror, the trauma, the hardship of whatever that shadow is. The reason it stays as a shadow is because it can feel too much for us to go back and process, and because those emotions might feel too uncomfortable to sit in. So I think it's going in knowing that it is going to be uncomfortable, but that is almost the teaching of it, is to be okay with sitting with those hard emotions and to know that they will pass, and coming into relationship with yourself that during those difficult moments, okay, like, how can I be my inner parent? How can I keep myself safe? How can I open up that conversation with myself to be curious, but to meet it with compassion and empathy? And I think it's just always working at your own pace, never push yourself too far. Just take things like one chunk at a time. Give yourself days off in between to like really sit and process it and allow your body to actually integrate and move that energy through. And yeah, just reach out where you're struggling. Community is a big, big thing. We're never meant to walk any of this on our own.
No.
Conversation, like they say, a problem shared is a problem halved. It's always important to talk about stuff, talk stuff through with people. But there's also a real power in that introspection, almost like the hermit mode of like taking some quiet time to yourself and journaling it through, or even just voice memoing yourself and saying it out loud, like just allowing yourself to process the stuff that does already exist within you.
Yeah. When you start working with someone, or if you have a client come to you and you're going to start doing the shadow work and doing that journey together, how long do you stay with them, and how intensely do you work with them, and then does it sort of trail off as you go further, as they get further in, but maybe not further in darkness, if you know what I mean? Yeah.
So in terms of coming with it, I recommend a minimum of 3, but it's normally up to about 10 sessions. And the way I work with my life coaching and stuff, it's all very person-centered. So I'm there to hold the container and kind of ask the right questions, but the work always will come from you. So it will always move at a pace that you're ready to. I'm just there to kind of guide you and kind of give you that support and that safe container to land in. But it's about you. So I would use tarot to open up that conversation. I would then reflect with my client, and it's I can bounce off my clients are the things I will ask them to reflect on the cards, and it's in that moment that you will naturally bring what you're ready to speak about. So that gives us a point to kind of focus on for that session. We can then integrate that into your energy healing and focusing on crystals that are really going to align with the intentions for the work we're doing that day. And at the end of the session, I will always touch back in and we will set a small goal for like what you can do until I next see you. I've got a list of like places that I can signpost people if I think it goes beyond my capacity.
Yeah.
I'm always free for people to like contact and reach out to following their session. So if people go home and actually they start processing something that came up during like the energy session and it comes quite overwhelming, I'm always on the other end of the message to kind of walk people and hold people through that.
Yeah. How did you get into doing this?
So when I was in university, I think I really started to reflect on my own life and kind of what had shaped me into being the person I am today. Looking back through childhood and all the stuff that had kind of shaped me and influenced me. And that kind of, opened up my own shadow work. With that came a lot of anger, came a lot of shame, came a lot of, I guess, disappointment for things frustration that adults around me had let me down because I am undiagnosed with neurodivergence. I've got autism and ADHD. And actually throughout my whole life, that was kind of missed. So I had to really sit and process some of these big, heavy emotions. And through that, I found love, I found compassion, I found understanding. And I was able to understand why those adults let me down, come to a place of acceptance. It doesn't necessarily mean that it was okay, but I've come to a place of accepting that that's how it worked out. And actually, I always sit on things and go, what is the lesson in this? When everything blows up in my life or something goes wrong, the first question I ask myself is, what is the lesson? And that is what's really carried me through this journey. And this is why I call myself the Alchemy Witch, because it's always about taking those experiences, those hardships, and actually going, right, how can I now use this to grow and to better myself and to learn lessons? What is this experience and this trying to teach me? Where is it trying to re-guide me? Or what is it about myself that I've maybe not looked at? So trying to think of an example here. So one of the things that came up for me during my shadow work was actually I really struggle reaching out and asking for help. But then I will get frustrated when people don't help me, or people offer help, but it's not quite in the way that I need it to be. And actually I'm projecting this frustration out on people and I'm getting angry or annoyed because they're not helping me in the way that I need them to. But actually that was a chance for me to look inward and go, but I'm not expressing what I need.
Yeah.
And actually I'm not I'm not giving people the chance to show up.
Yeah.
And even if they don't get it quite right, I'm like, it's allowing people to show up and get it wrong. And like, their intention is still good. They're still trying to help. They're still coming from a place of love.
Yeah.
So actually it was a really beautiful chance for me to look inward and go, oh, okay, there's something in me that there's a wound there where maybe in the past people have let me down and I've got this hyper independence, but I'm coming into a place now where, I know how important it is to reach out for help and to lean on other people. And we're never meant to walk this on our own. It's too much for one person to kind of carry by themselves.
Are you a firstborn daughter?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought so. We're very hyper independent and we carry a lot and we're like, no, we can do it by ourselves. We don't need anyone and we'll take on everyone else's problems. And then it's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Firstborn daughters. Any firstborn daughters out there who know what we're talking about, put a comment on this episode. Just put firstborn daughter. For you to have gone through that whilst you were at uni, and when we're at uni, what we're around, but we're between 18 and 21, 22, like the average. It's quite profound for you to be going through that and to do that work at such a young age. When I was at uni, I was a mess. Like, you know, I was going out. Obviously, you go out and you get drunk and you have relationships and you stress about your coursework and you stress about life and you have, you know, lots of mentee bees. Just treat yourself to a little mentee bee. You know, when I was going out at uni, I wouldn't start getting ready until like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
To leave. So I'd be leaving at 11:30, not getting home till 4, you know, and these days I'm like, why would you do that? But for you to then say that you've gone through such a very deep, reflective inner journey and done a lot of work on yourself and faced a lot of demons at a tender age where you're just starting out in life.
Mm-hmm.
That is incredibly profound, Jenna, and
Thank you.
very, very, just self-awareness is huge, which is amazing. It's amazing. I'm really like, I don't want to say I'm really impressed because I don't want to sound like I'm patronizing you, but I think I'm just, what's the word? I think I admire that. And it's just, yeah, it's really quite incredible.
I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, okay.
It's interesting as well. I think if I sit and ask myself, like, what triggered this journey, and I say this with caution because I know medication for mental health is an incredible lifesaver for a lot of people. And I think it's a very personal decision.
Yeah.
And I think there is a lot of power in medication. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression during uni. And my doctors put me on like an SSR medication combination for the two.
Yeah.
And I was on it for a couple of weeks, probably not even enough weeks to like feel the effects of it. But something in my gut was like, this isn't the route for you. And it was in that moment that I went, what is causing my anxiety and depression? And I realized that it was because there was all this stuff inside me that I hadn't properly processed. I hadn't had adults to show me proper emotional regulation. So there's all of this like lifetime of emotion that I'd never fully felt or processed. So I am very good at kind of being self-aware, but what I'm not so good at is the embodiment of that emotion, actually allowing myself to sit and feel it. And it was that journey of being put onto medication that made me go, this isn't the right route for me because I need to do the inner work.
Yeah.
Actually, there was something about being on medication that I just felt was gonna mask the symptoms, and yes, it would make my life more manageable, but it wasn't addressing the stuff that was lying underneath it. And therefore, if I didn't address that stuff, it was never gonna get easier. For some people, it's doing that work alongside the medication, and the medication allows that stability so you can do the work alongside it. For me, I wanted my system to be at complete baseline with no influence of anything else, so I could really come into conversation with a clear head.
So in order for you to heal, you searched for the cause so you could treat the cause and not manage the symptoms.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I think is really, really, really important. And you see it in not just mental health, but, you know, in physical health as well. The amount of times that you'll go to the doctor and you've got these issues and these symptoms and you're constantly being given the medication or the treatment to manage the symptoms, but it's not curing it.
Yeah.
You need to find the cause.
Yeah.
And then I end up getting on my soapbox going, well, wouldn't it be cheaper for the NHS if we just treated the causes and not spent loads of money managing all these symptoms? But Big Pharma doesn't want us to do that. So,
yeah.
But yeah, no, absolutely. It's just the right, rational, logical way to go as well. Treat the cause. Don't manage rather than managing the symptoms. If we can treat the cause, you're going to heal.
Yeah. And to look at yourself holistically.
Yeah.
If you're just honing in on the symptoms, like you said, you're just treating the physical manifestation rather than looking at what has caused that thing to manifest in the first place. Whereas if we're treating ourselves holistically, we're bringing balance across our whole being.
Yeah.
And therefore, actually, that energy that's blocked or stagnated can start to move and be integrated back in. Whereas if we're just treating the physical symptoms, like that emotional or mental trigger that's lying underneath is just going to keep resurfacing.
Yeah.
And it will get louder and louder because it's like you're not listening, and it's often an inner child. It's that inner child part of you that's banging on the door and screaming out and trying to get someone to listen because there's a need that wants to be met.
Yeah. It's interesting how you also said that when you started taking your medication, you felt in your gut. And there's also, that link between that brain and gut biome link, and how your gut is your second brain as well, which again, it's like you're really listening and tapping in and tuning into your body, your whole system, not just on a physical level, but like you said, you go very deep, you go physical, mental, emotional and spiritual. So you're making sure that all of those parts,
It's really interesting you said about the gut, actually, because I remember during that time of my life where the anxiety and depression was really high, and I actually got really bad like acid reflux, and like it was making me feel really nauseous. I wasn't eating, like it was, the stress had just kind of manifested as all these gut issues. And touch wood, occasionally I get a little bit of acid reflux if I eat the wrong foods. But overall, it's nowhere near what it used to be. So there is definitely this relationship between, our gut being the second brain.
Yeah. And I hear you on the acid reflux. I really struggle with it. It's horrible. It's horrible when you have that horrible, you get like a bubbling or a fizz in your throat, and the taste. Oh, awful. No. No, I definitely know where you're coming from on that. Yeah, I don't know whether it's mine is just an age thing or probably anxiety or both.
It's a bit of everything.
Probably a bit of everything.
People with neurodivergence, the autism and ADHD, it's also very linked. Like we tend to have GERD and intestinal issues. So there's definitely a association between those as well.
Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know what GERD is, it's gastroesophageal reflux disorder.
Very well remembered. I probably would have got 2 of the letters.
Oh, I'm quite proud of myself remembering that. With your spiritual journey and with your neurodiversity as well, how would you say that your spiritual journey started? Like going right back to childhood, when you were always sort of interested in the mystical and the magical and the esoteric?
I think this was a really beautiful moment for me, actually, when I started like my true spiritual awakening in my early 20s, because as I walked my spiritual journey, I realized how, this has been with me my whole life. I was always that child that was drawn to crystals and had a small little collection of them. And one thing I used to do when I was really struggling as a kid is like I would talk to myself in the mirror. So what I now recognize as being scrying and mirror work. I would look into my own eyes, and it's almost like I was connecting to like adult version of me. So it's like I was connecting to the version of me now back as a child. And I would always talk to the sky and something greater, but I never believed in God. But I always knew that there was something bigger outside of us. So walking my spiritual journey, there was all these little beautiful moments that I was like, oh, actually this has been with me since a child, and like that intuition has always been there. And I think that's such a lovely thing, because as children we're more receptive to it. Society kind of conditions it out of us as we enter the rat race of the worlds that we're in at the moment. But like that knowledge, that intuition, that ancestral wisdom was always with me.
Speaking of ancestral wisdom, is there anyone in your family, not immediate, but ancestrally, either great aunts, grandparents, or uncles that were spiritually that way as well?
We don't know a huge amount about my like family history, but my mom is pretty sure that on her side of the family, we did, like one of her nans used to read tea leaves. And when we were clearing out my grandparents' house, we came across like witches' bells and a big like scrying ball. Which is really interesting, because like growing up, my mom was quite superstitious, and I think her parents were as well. Because my granddad, like, he refused to have the witch's ball in the house because he was convinced that it held like bad energy. So they've always grown up like I was never allowed to put like umbrellas up in the house or like walk under ladders. Like if I broke a mirror, end of the world.
Yes. We had those superstitions as well growing up.
And as a kid, like I never understood any of that stuff. I used to like kind of laugh at my mom and roll my eyes and be like, it's silly. But actually, like now I've walked some of the witchcraft stuff, I can see the old like wise tales that these were rooted in and why these have become a belief. And I can see like, yeah, breaking a mirror, it being a portal. Like I now get the understanding behind it. But as a child, you're like, oh, that's just silly, isn't it?
Did you ever have the whole, don't you put new shoes on the table?
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
I never got that as well. Like if I say, you know, you go shopping for your school stuff at the end of summer holidays and you get a new pair of school shoes and you're putting all your stuff on the table, don't you put those new shoes on the table?
Yeah. We had one as well that if you bought someone like a new wallet or a purse, you'd always have to put a silver coin.
Yeah, or like a penny or something. Yeah.
You could never give somebody an empty wallet because it was meant that like their money would drain.
Yeah, and I carry that with me now as well. Like if I ever gift anyone, even if it's something small, like a penny has to be in it. Yeah, that's so. I think we're losing a lot of that, you know, which is really, really sad. We're losing a lot of it.
There's little like rituals and like traditions, just those yeah.
Even like New Year, you open up your front door and your back door on New Year's Eve, so you let the new year in and the old year out. So the new year comes in through the front door and then the old year leaves through the back door. And even that sort of stuff doesn't really get, you know, not talked about much or done anymore. And if you mention it, I think a lot of probably Gen Zs will look at you and like, oh,
yeah,
what are you talking about?
Or I think the traditions that have still kind of carried through, we've lost the connection of the stories.
Yes.
Actually, like the roots of where they come from. It would be nice to, kind of bring more of that back.
It would. I was actually, God, my listeners are going to get sick of me because I plug all the time, but I was actually at Emily's store yesterday, Black Cat Books, and she's got in a new book called Household Law, and it was all about the law and the superstitions that you have in your home. And I only very briefly got to look through it. I didn't get to capture all of it, but the book is separated into rooms. So like in parts of the house, like the front door, the hallway, the threshold, the stairs, the attic, the living room, the kitchen. I was like, oh, this book is great.
That reminds me of, is it the Japanese practice of, is it feng shui?
Feng shui, yeah.
Like things like how you shouldn't have a mirror in front of your bed, or like how it's better to have, is it your bed shouldn't be directly underneath a window, and like there's like certain things about how your room should be laid out and how different rooms in the home hold different energies and they're different centers for things. So like
like don't have certain things by the door. Yeah. It's funny because my bed is opposite my window. So, and then my dressing table is under my window. So I have my dressing table mirror up looking at my bed. But what I do every night without fail is I cover my mirror. I cover the whole dressing table with a blanket. Because I'm like, never have two mirrors facing each other.
Yeah, or like either side on the wall. So yeah, it's really, the mirror one's really interesting because like I didn't know how much I believed it for a while because I've got a mirror. It's not directly facing my bed, but it's off to the side. So like it is still technically reflecting the bed area.
Yeah.
But I remember, we lived in a flat a couple of years ago and it had a massive like wardrobe mirror right in front of the bed. And I had a really horrible episode of sleep paralysis. And ever since that moment, I learned to like lock my mirrors. So I now put like protective sigils over them.
I do it with my, sounds gross, but I do it with my saliva. I literally just lick my finger and I will just like either draw a pentagram and I will say little rituals and to say, you know, I'm locking this thing, like I'm locking this mirror. Nothing without my permission is allowed through. Yeah. You know, you'll see like smudges on my mirrors, I've got little pentagrams or sigils around them.
Yeah, I do it as well.
Yeah, okay.
Mine's a pentagram, that's what I use to lock things as well.
But it's like, but I feel better for doing it. Like, and especially if I get like anything new that comes in that was pre-owned, I'm like cleansing this and unlocking it straight away. Yeah,
that's one thing. So as a kid, my mom used to try and get me to go shopping in charity shops all the time, and I really struggled with like secondhand stuff. And I've only like recently been like, oh, that's what it was. And it's because, so when we talk about like psychic abilities like clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of that, I haven't got a visual mind in any sense of the word. I can't see stuff in my mind's eye. But I've got, I think, what's called like clairsentience, or there's another name for it. But basically, I like holding stuff.
Oh,
So I
okay.
can hold stuff and feel the energy of it. And I've realised that this is why I struggled with charity shops, is because I could pick up an item or a piece of clothing and feel the entire person that owned it before.
I think that's called psychometry.
It might be.
Yeah, I've done that. I've done psychometry. It's very interesting.
Yeah, and I think this is why I struggled with like secondhand stuff, is because I could feel the lingering energy of the person that owned it before.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love a charity shop now, but I'm very big on kind of cleansing stuff as it comes through my house.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you learnt to ground yourself now as well, and sort of put yourself in a bubble and protect yourself?
Yeah, protection was a big one when I first started all of my like witchcraft and spiritual journey. I'm not always the best because I've a little bit of a chaos witch at the same time, and sometimes I'm just like, yeah, I'm protected, my spirit team have got me,
and they're just there in the background like, bitch, like,
she makes us work hard.
Don't get paid enough.
But those protections definitely come up if I'm doing like if I'm working with ghosts, or if I'm going into areas where I can feel it while I'm walking in, or if I'm working with clients, I tend to put more protection up around myself. But yeah, grounding's a really, really important one. I notice it, like, even if I just spent, like, with all this rubbish weather we have in the UK, you only have to spend like a day in the house and you can feel how much your energy shifts. Like, not being outside with the natural world and feeling the fresh air. Like, we're not meant to be contained in brick square buildings.
No.
And yeah, I can feel it very, very quickly. Like, I have like one day of just chilling on the sofa and I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm like so drained.
You kind of like get a bit of cabin fever, don't you?
Yeah.
And then it's hard to get out of. It's a slippery slope, and then you're stuck in that cycle. Yeah. I can get like that.
Yeah.
A lot.
And I think sometimes the more time you spend inside, it can actually get quite scary to step back out into the world.
Yeah.
The outside world can feel quite overwhelming.
Yeah, especially with the way things are at the moment as well. Yeah, no, I totally get it.
Yeah, the world is on fire right now, and it just feels like we're all just skipping along, like with our heads in the clouds, like, oh, nothing's happening.
Have you seen that meme where the office is on fire? It's like a cartoon, the office is on fire, and there's this like little cartoon creature just sat there with a cup of coffee at the desk going, everything's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. That's what it feels like.
It's all fine. I'm fine. And there's like raging fire everywhere.
And part of me thinks there's such a strength in actually the fact we're all sitting here going, it's fine, because we're not getting wrapped up in fear. But it also just speaks volumes, I think, about how much we've seen over the last few years. It's almost like we've become so desensitized to like, there's another war. Okay. Like, it's just a bit heartbreaking, actually, that it's become so normalized for the world to be in such chaos.
Yeah.
And I think as the small people, as the capitalism will call us, it's like we've lost our sense of power of like, actually as a collective, we are so powerful. And if we all came together, we could evoke change. But I think we've fallen into like learnt helplessness of, we always say that thing of like, well, I'm just one person. What change can I make? And actually, if we all gathered together, change is possible.
Yeah. It makes me think of the film V for Vendetta. Have you seen that film?
I've not, you know.
Oh my gosh! Oh my goodness, it's such a good film. I think it was a graphic novel, and then the film was based on the graphic novel.
Okay.
It's incredible. It's a really, really good film.
Add that to my list.
Yes, I think just from what you were just saying there, I think it's something you really need to watch.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure. It's very good. Yeah, but that sort of, I mean, it could be easy to go down into a sort of mystical, political rabbit hole with you.
Oh yeah, that's my favourite thing to do.
I mean, how bad do we think it's going to get? What do you think our sort of crescendo, or our tipping point is going to be before?
It's so hard because it's like energetically, I can feel the collective tower moment we're going through.
Because you talk about collective consciousness, and sort of world events
Yeah.
a lot, and you're very on topic and in touch with it.
I think there was a lot of purpose in the pandemic back in 2020. A lot of people went through their spiritual awakening around that time, including myself. We are experiencing mass awakening. More and more people are seeing the truth of how this world is run. I can't pinpoint how it collapses, but I think we are going to see capitalism, politics massively shifting. We need a reform across most areas: healthcare, education. All I know is I see the tower card. I see this tree burning and crumbling and falling, and we're going to have to sort of rebuild from the ashes. But it's so important during this time that we hold community and we try our best not to get sucked into the fear of it all. To hold faith and to hold hope, because that's the one thing I have a lot of right now is, yes, the world's burning and everything's up in arms, but I'm really, really hopeful for a brighter, better future coming through for all of us, where our basic human needs are met. That we get a better work-life balance, and we actually come back to being more in line with how we're meant to be living as human beings.
You and I, we talk about this a lot, about just living, not surviving. And I think we say, I think the word just being able to live has got confused with, I'm just surviving. Just to be able to get up in the morning and be at home and not have the worry or the stress, and just enjoy running your home, enjoy just sort of going out and doing what people will call the mundane things, but just live, just being able to live and just enjoy and live.
Just slowing down and being present, and just, like you said, those mundane things, actually,
they're really important.
There's a lot of joy that can be had in just gardening and washing up your dishes with a good bit of music on. But those things feel so overwhelming, and so they feel like a burden because we don't have the time for them. We don't have time to do our laundry and wash our dishes.
No.
That's often the one thing that kind of falls, isn't it? It's like people say, my house is an absolute tip because life has just been too busy and I haven't got round to it. We're constantly juggling, having to drop the ball on something. You can't maintain everything.
No, you can't. It's like we're spinning so many plates all the time. And it's how to just sort of stop those plates from smashing. It's really tricky. But the social structure that we live in, it doesn't allow us to just live. And that's what's really hard. And in order to just live a simple life, you need to be earning a lot of money, which is just so crazy. To live a simple life, you have to be in that top 1%, which I just think is so backwards and just so wrong.
Money is a big contributor in a lot of the problems we're seeing, isn't it? Let's just go back to trading, I'll swap my chickens for your corn.
Yeah. I can I'll repair some shirts or sew some shirts. And we can just trade that for some oil or some seeds. I don't know. Just go back to a bartering system where the currency is just trade and skill. That would be nice. That would be really, really nice. And not have to worry about petrol going up all the time. Which is not fun at the moment.
No, I'm really noticing my fuel is not getting me as far as it used to. So I'm putting the same amount in, like, cost-wise, and now I'm like having to fill it up a lot more regularly. I'm really frugal with my fuel consumption, and I will fill up every 3 weeks. Well, fuel's gone up a lot in the last 3 weeks, so now I'm about to take a massive hit. And I'm looking at my petrol light is on, and I'm like, I need to go get some fuel. I'm like, but it's going to be so expensive. I don't want to do it. And I was talking to my mum about this yesterday. I was like, why are we paying the price? Why are we paying the price for this? And my mum was like,
because they have to keep the profits turning over. They have to keep themselves in the black. They have to keep themselves rich. And I'm like, but I'm the one who's suffering here. I'm the one who's thinking, petrol, you know, I haven't got the money. We haven't got the money to keep them supported. I don't think,
we're all, I think the thing that got me the other day is like, we're all sitting here like struggling even for things like fuel. And then they've launched another missile up into space is it going to the moon? I didn't follow it too much. Archimedes, whatever it's called.
Leave her alone.
Leave the moon alone.
I'm have a Britney moment. Leave her alone.
Society's struggling, and it's just like we have millions, billions of money, like pounds, dollars to just throw on stuff like that when there's people that can't even put food on the table. Yeah,
people are dying. It's like that Kim Kardashian moment. Have you ever seen that viral Kim Kardashian moment?
Yes, I know which one you're on about.
She loses like her diamond earrings. I don't like Kardashians, I don't follow them, but that it circulates the internet every now and then, and she's like, I dropped my diamond earring in the water, and then someone comes and goes, Kim, there are people literally dying in the world.
Yeah, very, very true.
But seriously, we don't need to keep sending shit up into space, and just leave the moon alone. Leave her alone.
Yeah, let's focus on the planet we have got and the one we're slowly killing.
Yeah, because we haven't got any others.
It's not even slowly anymore. We are quite rapidly killing the planet.
Yeah. But I think that the planet will be okay.
Oh, she'll
fine. She'll eventually just knock us off the table and go, do you know, I've had enough of your shit.
And I think this is the thing, is like, Earth will always bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't need us. She comes and has her own cycles where she goes through her own death and rebirth all the time.
Yeah.
But what we're facing is the end of humanity if we're not careful. Earth will carry on. But we have to live and survive here, and the planet's getting to a point where it's becoming inhabitable.
Uninhabitable.
Yeah. Thank you.
But it's like, you know, like everything's like all this, the meningitis that's been coming around, and I'm like, illnesses come around. It's nature. Nature fights back. People get sick. Illnesses come and go. Diseases spread. You know, you can't stop it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's really unfortunate. It's really sad. Yes, it's scary. But if, like you said, if we keep treating the planet and treating ourselves the way we are, something's got to give, and something's going to try and fight back. You know, it's nature as well.
Yeah. I think the frustrating thing is, like, there are solutions out there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's just, again, it comes back to money, doesn't it?
Yeah. And how much money they want to trickle from the top down.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing really trickles from the top down. We're meant to be in this economy where, you know, it all trickles down from the top. No, it doesn't. They're just sat there at the top enjoying having that silver spoon and their lined pockets, and we're down here sending shit up to them.
Yeah.
You know, we can't afford to, you know, barely survive on. It's turning into a very political episode.
It is.
Interesting.
Well, this always happens with me. I'm like, don't go political, Jenna, and here we are.
I think you can't help it. I think living in the world that we're in today, and with the way things are and how it just affects the small people, you know.
I think this is the thing, is like, as a society, we've always been like, oh yeah, we don't discuss politics, but actually I think we're getting to a point that it's really important that we do. One of the things that's been sitting in my head is actually I would really love to organise a local meeting, bringing people from different political preferences together to actually have healthy conversation and debate, because I think once we start talking about it, we will realise that whether you're far left or far right, at the end of the day, we all are fighting for the same thing, and it's to have a better life. Like you said, it's to come back to actually living and thriving, not surviving. We're all just arguing about what the root cause and blame is of that situation. But actually, we're all fighting for the same thing. And I think all of us have a lot more in common than we realise. And I think right now, education, talking about it, getting accurate, truthful information out there is very, very important.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be difficult to facilitate though, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would take a lot of mediating.
Yes.
And getting people to hold their emotions gracefully. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It's just about how we communicate it. But isn't there also a beautiful lesson in that about actually, like everyone's entitled to their opinion. The world wouldn't run if we all believed the same stuff. But how can we hold each other in compassion and understanding and go, yep, you believe something different to me, but that is okay.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that I now need to think negatively of you. Actually just to meet you with curiosity and go, okay, tell me why you hold the beliefs you do.
Yeah. I was going to say something and it's completely gone out of my head, so it'll probably just pop back in later and I'll just come back to it, like, just because I'll be getting so drawn into. Oh, no, I remember. Nostradamus.
Oh, yeah.
Do you like Nostradamus?
I've done a little bit of looking into Nostradamus. It's an interesting one because obviously his work was written in like very riddles.
Yes.
So everything we take as predictions now is us trying to interpret his original language. But there is definitely some accuracy in the things that, because I was looking into some of his predictions during all of COVID and the pandemic. And they were pretty accurate.
Yeah. I have his book, or I have a book of predictions, and it has the original one and then the interpretation, and it's going through all the years, and I haven't looked at it in a couple of years. I should probably go and have a look and see what's in store for 2027 and 2028.
Yeah. Because what are we coming into, a year 2 and 3? So that's coming back into balance and cooperation. So actually we're going to see more harmony and more community, balancing back out of these dualities.
Interesting.
Which will be really nice because, currently we're in a year 1, so it's new beginnings, which is why we're going to see a lot of upheaval to make space for that new stuff.
What does that mean, we're in a year 1?
So on a numerology level, we add up the numbers. So if we're in 2026, you would do 2 + 2 + 6, which is 10.
Yeah.
And then zeros don't count, so it's only digits from 1 to 9.
Okay.
Or you get the occasional power number like 11 and 22. But 2026 gets broken down into a year 1 because once you've added up all the numbers, 10 then becomes 1.
And last year would have been a 9.
Yeah.
I see. Interesting. I'll have to have you back on for another episode to talk about numerology because I find it absolutely fascinating and you've got so much knowledge on it. But it would be a whole episode in itself.
It is a really fascinating one, and it's pretty much where I started, because when I started my spiritual journey, I believed in something bigger, but I've always leaned on falsifiability, so I've needed science to kind of prove things.
Yeah.
So I started off with string theory and quantum physics, which then
just
led me...
images of Sheldon Cooper. And so you say string theory. I don't even know what that is. I just got Sheldon Cooper's like image in my mind, though.
Yeah. And then that also only led me into the work of like Nikola Tesla and Mark Ryden, and that opened up this pathway of numerology, and I was like, oh, this whole universe is coded like a computer. And once you understand numbers, you understand the language of the universe, which I think is a quote directly from Nikola Tesla. Because that was another thing all throughout my childhood. What was my favourite number? 369. And that
Who's drank wine? My favourite number's always been 8. Just because I think my birthday is on the 8th. But I feel like the 8 is such a powerful number, and then on its side it's the infinity sign as well. So I really like the number 8. I always had quite an affinity with that number.
The like constant flow.
Yeah. There's always something about that. But I know that in numerology, my number is 11. Yeah.
So your life path number
is 11. Yeah. But I need to do... Well, I know that we're actually going to do a session soon, aren't we, on numerology?
Yeah.
So that's going to be really interesting. Can we talk a little bit about Sister Circle? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. So you and I attend, well, you facilitate, which I attend, a closed sister circle every couple of weeks where we do have a different theme. We have a different subject every week, which is incredible. And I think I joined maybe in the autumn last year. I want to say maybe it was autumn. Yeah. And it's just been wonderful. Like, I'm so glad I was introduced to it and just found this beautiful tribe of women. But yeah, how did Sister Circle start for you, or what sort of inspired you to do it?
I felt incredibly lonely, not having anyone to talk to about all my crazy conspiracy theories or my woo-woo rituals. I was looking for community, and at that time I didn't have many positive female relationships in my life, and that had kind of been a pattern throughout my life so far. So I had been to a circle out in Bude, and it was too far for me to travel regularly. So I was like, oh, I'd love to bring something like that to this corner of the world. So me and Kathy at the time started it up, and it grew and it's evolved and gone through many different like cycles and eras over the 3 years as we've kind of like found our feet and what works and what things we're interested in. But yeah, it's been such a blessing. I've now got all these incredible women around me from such diverse backgrounds of all ages, and just coming together and having a little community to share those things with and have little rituals and really bringing back that sacred sister and bringing women together and empowering one another and just playing with craft and tapping into your inner child.
Yeah, it feels like a coven.
Yeah.
Oh, I absolutely love it. I really, really do. And I love that we learn something new from each other every couple of weeks. We all have something to bring and something to learn, which I think is it's so nice.
And I think it's just the beautiful thing of like in the 3 years I've done it, seeing everybody grow and evolve and walk their individual journeys. Like every week I see people, they've got something new to like share with me that they've now integrated, or a lesson that they've been like, oh, I've learnt this, or I set a boundary for myself this week, and we're like, yeah, so proud of you. And it's just watching people kind of go on their own journeys, but having the honor to support and witness them as they walk that is amazing.
Yeah, tarot is your tool of divination. Do you have any other? Oh, and you mentioned scrying as well. Do you have any other methods of divination that you like to use?
So, charm reading, there is is it astrocartomancy, I think is the technical term. So it's when people used to collect things like little bits of bone or like buttons, like the little trinkets. That's been another one that I dabble in. You sort of assign meaning to like each thing that you collect. And then you draw like a grid and you scatter your charms across it, and depending on which section they land in. So say you get a little love heart land in the home section, that would indicate, okay, I've assigned the meaning of relationships and support and love and compassion to the heart. So that means that in my home setting, I'm receiving a lot of that. I've got a loving relationship or loving family members. So that's a really nice little one to play with. The other thing, I guess, in terms of divination, like using pendulums, dabbled a little bit with dowsing rods because I'm starting to kind of try and connect with the ghost realm. It's one that I've avoided a long time out of fear, but I'm trying to open myself up to it a bit more.
Talk to me a little bit about that.
So, it's probably about a year ago now. We went out to Jamaica Inn.
Oh my gosh, I just worked last Saturday. I was working with the Jamaica Inn paranormal team.
They're incredible over there. They've got a really good paranormal team. We just went in and like took a few like bits with us and just sort of like had a play on our own.
Yeah.
And there was like a moment we were sat down in the bar at like 2:00 in the morning. and we saw this like shadow go like across the wall, like towards the bar, and then all the lights just went do do do, like shut down, and we all just like looked at each other, like shut up from our seats. We're like, oh no, I think we're done. I think that was like our sign of being kicked out. It was like they wanted their bar back for the night. But we connected into the little girl Hannah, and actually that was the first time that like I don't get visual stuff come through, but I could feel the presence of this little girl with like her hair in plaits. And we went down to the museum the following day, and they were talking about this little girl, and a picture of her came up, and I was like, that's what I could feel. So in that moment, it was just a real confirmation for me that actually there was more there that I've not tapped into. And I'm like, okay, if I can just allow myself to put the protections in place and trust that I am protected and safe, that I can start dabbling in this. There are definitely ghost places that I would not touch with a barge pole. Some places have very dark, heavy energy that I'm like, I don't trust my own protections enough. But yeah, what an interesting thing, because like I've always been very open to the idea of ghosts, but they do terrify me. I think it's just I don't like the idea of things touching me or hearing things unexpectedly. But when I moved into the house that I'm in now, I connected into the old bloke that used to live here, and that was a really like beautiful moment. And I felt him come over and actually place his hand on top of my hand. Because I promised that I'd keep he was he loved his garden, and our house is now absolutely festered with roses. And that was like one thing that I promised him. I was like, we will maintain the front garden and like look after your roses and keep that going for you. And that's when I felt him come over and place his hand on mine. Because I knew that there was an energy in this house, and I just, as we first moved in, I wanted to just reach out to it, just to be like, with all respect, like, we're living here now, I hope that's okay. Like, I want to respect that this used to be your like property, and like I still want to honor that. But like, it was just checking in and being like, am I okay to be here? Like, because I could feel the presence, and every so often I hear footsteps come up the stairs, and like the lights will flicker and stuff. But he's just a very gentle, lovely old man.
It's so interesting, because before we started recording, I was saying how your house is pretty much the exact same as what my old house used to be like before I moved down to Cornwall. And we were in that house, 10 years, and we had a spirit of the old person, the old man who lived there, who died there before we moved in. Wasn't as lovely and as warming and as nice as your story. My younger sister saw him a lot, I think because she was still a child, and she got scared. And then when I was on my own for the last year there, before we decided to, leave and move down to Cornwall, the year that I was there on my own, I had some very interesting experiences. But the radio would often turn on and off by itself a lot of the time. That was when we were all there, which was unsettling. But I remember creaking on the stairs. And people are like, oh, it's the house settling, it's the wood will expand and contract because of the heating in the house and the seasons. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but there's a huge distinction between hearing your house contract or expand due to heat or temperature changes, compared to weight, like weight, if that makes sense, and pressure.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't sleep very well, as you know. I'm not a very good sleeper, but I was woken up in the middle of the night because I was absolutely convinced that I heard someone run up my stairs, and I had a wooden staircase. Yeah. And it was just it was at the time when we were all sort of getting ready to just sort of completely make the move as a whole family down here. Yeah. But it's just so interesting, like, yeah, these houses. I mean, it can be any house really, but obviously the older that they are. And I think if someone's lived their whole life in them, so people live in their houses for like 50, 60 years, that's a lifetime of energy.
Yeah.
And if you're having a family in that house as well, that's, 3, 4, 5, 6 more lifetimes over all at once, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
this is it.
incredible.
And, like, yeah, buildings hold that energy, like you
Yeah.
said. Like, yeah, if someone's been here their whole life, you're gonna feel those impressions of them still lingering.
Yeah. But I'm glad that you had a really nice,
A nice one,
gentle
yeah. I think if
experience.
he'd have been not so, I don't think I'd still be living.
Fair enough. Fair enough. You haven't had any other paranormal experiences?
No, my mom's more in tune with ghosts than I am. It's
Oh,
not,
wow.
even throughout my like childhood, it's not, I never saw things or felt the presence of anything. I think the only thing when I was very little, we stayed at the Carpenter's Arms. It used to be in Callington, and we were convinced that we saw a dog go past our door because we were like staying in the upstairs like B&B, and we were like, was that a dog? And we've like followed it down the corridor, and as we got closer and closer to the kitchen, you could hear like as if a dog was like lapping its bowl of water.
Oh, right.
And then we got to the kitchen, you can see the bowl of water, no dog, and we were like, is there a dog here? And the owners were like, no. I was like, no, what? And like me and my brother just looked at each other like we'd both gone mad. And I was like, well, we can't have both hallucinated the same thing.
Was that called Foliada?
Yeah, but that's probably the only thing I had was just a dog that came through very randomly.
But there was a bowl of water on the floor.
But there was a bowl of water.
How bizarre.
Yeah. And they were like, yeah, there's no dog. And I'm like, but there's a bowl of water.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting. I would love to hear more ghost animal stories. I don't think you hear them enough, really.
No, you're right. Ghost, yeah. I guess ghost animals, yeah, don't often come through very often unless people kind of tap into them, like psychic mediums. But they definitely must be around because, like, I'm pretty sure one of my old cats visits me every so often because I can feel a cat jump up on the bed and then I look down and actually there's no one there.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, every so often I do get visitors because, like, the cats I've got as well, obviously, they're like, they walk between rounds, don't they, cats?
Absolutely.
And they have their moments where they'll just, like, stare, like, really intensely at, like, a spot in the room. I'm like, what are you looking at?
Yeah.
And, like, you know they've picked up on something and you're like, what is it?
Yeah. It's interesting. Every time I have moved, so in the last few years, when I moved, I think I moved in 2020, end of 2022 or summer 2022, I moved. And when I was the first few nights in that new place, I was convinced that I dreamt and then felt that there was a cat on my bed. And then when I moved to where I am now, again, the first few nights, I had, again, there was a cat just on the end of my bed. Like, so I don't know if it's some sort of spirit animal or spirit guardian. Yeah, but the last couple of years when I've been moving, for the first few nights, I've always experienced, and because I've been in that liminal space of sleep and awake, I've not been bothered. I've been like, oh, it's fine, it's just cat's on the end of bed. Cat's just asleep on the end of bed, it's fine. Like, because I'm just so sleepy. Yeah, can't explain it.
It's interesting that you said spiritual guardian because it gave me a little tingle then, because they do say that, like, that's why cats will sleep by your feet on your bed, is like they are there to almost protect you spiritually while you sleep, because when you sleep you're in between realms and you're out of your body, so actually you're quite spiritually vulnerable. So they say that that's why cats sleep with us, is to offer us that protection.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
and it's only when I've moved, it's just for a couple of nights, and then it's sort of disappeared
during those like transition points of your life.
Really interesting. So if I move again,
let me know if it comes
I
back.
will. Absolutely. So with your business, the Alchemy Witch, I always like to try and get especially women on my podcast to do some promo talk about what it is that they do, how people can get in touch with you, and just put you out there a little bit more, because I think it can be really hard for us to do that. So and to just sort of say, hey, this is me and I'm actually really good at this stuff, and come and work with me and see what I do and help me earn a living.
You're right. It's hard. It feels uncomfortable to pick yourself up and to sell yourself.
Yeah. So I'm trying to sort of like do this thing where I'm encouraging women to pick themselves up and sell yourself. You know what I mean? Like, just promote the incredible work that you do, and get yourself out there. So
so you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I am the Alchemy Witch. I think my handle is jen.alchemywitch. I'm offering tarot readings and crystal energy healing with life coach kind of blended up throughout it. My passion is just teaching people and empowering people, and I want you to leave my space feeling like you're in control of your own life and that you have a strong direction with how to move forward, and you feel safe and confident to employ the skills that you need to move forward. I like to say that my way of reading tarot is a little bit different in terms of the fact that I have always avoided guidebooks, because I think the beauty of tarot is the storytelling and the in the moment sort of interpretation of the images. So I could use the same deck and do a reading for you and a reading for someone else. Same cards could come up, but I would take different interpretations from them, because while I'm sat with you, I might be more drawn to the sun and the moon and the stars that are depicted on the cards. With someone else, I might be more drawn to the queen that's sitting on a throne and the rose that she's got in her hand. In the moment, it's just following my intuition and seeing which bits are pulling me in more, but also inviting you into that conversation. So it's not just me talking at you. So really, you are the expert in your own life. I am here just to kind of facilitate that and help you come back into connection with your own magic, your own insight, your own inner knowledge.
And can people work with you face to face and online?
I'm open to. I haven't done any online stuff yet, but I am open to doing like tarot readings and stuff online. I know some people do the energy healing remote, like distance healing. My preference is to see people in person for the crystal energy healing, just so I can get a real feel. I'm not so good at reading energy through a screen.
It's harder, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a lot harder to connect in with people. So I think just for me to be able to deliver my best work and to be able to connect in with you the best face to face is preference. But if people are struggling with getting out to me or accessibility issues, then please reach out, because there's always a potential of I'm happy to try things online. But I guess, God, it is hard bigging yourself up.
Do you have a website?
Don't have a website yet. That's something I'm working on.
An email that people can contact you on?
Yeah, so again, my email is jen.alchemywitch@gmail.com. Just get in contact, come have a chat with me, because I brand myself as energy healing and tarot, but actually, if you just want to come in and have a play with anything witchy, like come and make a wish jar, or let's make a crystal grid, let's talk about some rituals you could go home and bring into your daily like routine. If you are just interested in witchcraft and walking this sort of path, just come in, have a conversation with me, and let's see what we can design and come up with to support you on that journey.
Lovely. That's amazing. Let me quickly talk to you about crystal healing. Because I have so many crystals. I am like a crystal junkie.
It's an addiction, isn't it?
I'm a slut for crystals. Like, I'm like, there goes my dinner for next week. Buying a crystal. Like,
it's terrible. There's that like meme of like someone in a crystal shop, and it's like, you've got enough crystals. It's like, but I haven't got this one.
I've seen videos online where like someone's crying. It's like, don't have enough money to like buy myself food, and they're putting their crystals in between 2 slices of bread. That's like, gonna have to like eat this for dinner. How do you with crystals? Because like I say, I have so many crystals, and it is addictive. I've been collecting them since I was tiny, but my knowledge is not as good as I think it should be. So I have amethyst. I know amethyst relates to my astrology sign, and I've always been really drawn to amethyst, and I use it for protection as well. And then I have clear quartz, which is an amplifier.
Yeah.
And then I have rose quartz, which I've never bought myself. People just seem to buy that for me. And I feel like it's because I'm single. They're just like, oh, here, have some rose quartz. I'm like,
Need a bit of love.
but yeah, rose quartz, which I know is actually more for self-love and compassion rather than bringing romance into your life. And then I have, what I thought was selenite until I watched your video the other day, which is now...
That'll be satin spar, yeah.
I have satin spar, yeah, which and I have black obsidian, which I use for protection, and black tourmaline, which I have for protection. And then I have citrine, but I only really use citrine as sort of citrine and carnelian. I see them more as I just link them with the sun. So if it's midsummer, for example, I will have them on my altar because I associate them with the sun and warmth and that sort of thing. And that's it. I have lots of other crystals, but I couldn't really tell you, like red jasper, and I've got fluorite, and I couldn't really tell you what the rest of them do. So I only really have like a very limited amount of knowledge, but I love crystals. So, yeah.
Well, you've got a pretty good knowledge of the ones that you're on it. You've got some. And I think this is it with crystals. It's like you can read all the guidebooks and like there is a sort of general theme of, I think the easiest place to start is with colour theory.
Yeah.
So red crystals being your root chakra, which is your place of safety, stability. It's where we anchor and connect to the earth. It's connecting to the physical body. So red jasper would be really good for like any physical problems, supporting like the immune system, circulation, but it would also be really good for that protection and grounding.
Okay, it's got red tiger's eye as well.
Oh,
yeah.
So colour theory is probably the easiest place to start and relating them into your chakras and understanding that system. But really it's just about how do you feel when you hold that crystal? Because for some people, they would hold carnelian and it would make them feel very calm and grounded, whereas other people would hold it and feel more of the like vibrancy and the energy, and they'd feel more uplifted from it.
Yeah.
So we all have our own different energetic systems. The crystals are going to interplay and work differently for all of us. And I think it's just really trusting, your own inner guidance.
Yeah. With crystal grids, what do you use them for, and how do you learn how to build them? What's their sort of purpose with a crystal grid?
So with a crystal grid, you have 3 kind of main layers. So you have your like focus stones in the middle. So that will be like the ones that are really setting your intention. And then you have like the center stones and then the outer stones. Center stones are kind of like they're there to amplify and kind of extend out your intentions. So in the center, I might say we're really honing in on self-love. So my central stones would be things like rose quartz or rhodonite, those pinky green things to really anchor in on that heart chakra. Then the stones coming out from that in the next 2 layers, it's about going, okay, when we talk about self-love, what are we really honing in on? Is it the forgiveness side of it? Is it allowing yourself and actually giving yourself permission to feel joy? So if we were honing in on, okay, I want to invite more joy into my life, then we'd lean more into the yellows and the orange stones like carnelian or citrine.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're working more on like, okay, there's a lot of stuff in my past that I'm trying to work through and forgive and let go of, then we'd lean more into our like black stones like tourmaline or things like nephrite jades, which are really good for healing those emotional wounds and past experiences. So it's just really sitting in and going, what's the overall intention? And then let's get more specific as we kind of build the crystal grid outwards.
With the colour theory, what about the crystals that are then liminal or in between colours? Like, I can never say the name. Labradorite,
yeah.
I can never say the name properly.
Yeah, that's a beautiful one because it's got that flash and you can get it in more like the purple and pink hues, or then you've got more of like the bluey green. So either way, when we think about the range of sort of blue, green, pink or purple, so you're looking sort of from your throat chakra all the way up to your crown. So labradorite's good for all of those. It's really, really good for like opening up that third eye, connecting to your intuition, spiritual development, but also really good for communication and like allowing us to speak with confidence and to speak authentically. Those with more of a bluey green hue would be more on the throat chakra, leaning into like the heart and the authenticity, whereas those with more of a purpley pink aura would be better for the psychic development, the spiritual work, really opening up those upper chakras.
Yeah, I see. That's amazing. Jenna, thank you so much.
Thank you.
My lovely. It has been so good. I'm going to have to get you back on for a numerology episode so we can deep dive into that, because that's fascinating. But I'm just so grateful that you've let me into your beautiful witchy office, witchy room, and your lovely witchy home. And yeah, thank you for coming on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me on. This has been really awesome.
You're very welcome. And I will put all of Jenna's contact details and how you can work with her all in the show notes. And I'll link her Instagram pages as well. So please go and show her some love and support. I hope you all enjoyed listening to my episode with Jenna. It was such a pleasure to have her on the show, and I've been really excited to be recording this episode. As I mentioned, all of Jenna's details are linked in the show notes. So if you liked what she had to say and you find her work interesting and you'd like to explore working with her, please check out the details in the show notes so you can go and contact her. So quickly, before we move on to the Witch Weekly events, I do have a small request for my lovely listeners. If you are enjoying this podcast, this episode, or if you have a favourite episode from any of the previous ones, I would love it if you could please rate, review and subscribe to the show. It really, really helps the show. It really helps get the word out more. I am on the majority of podcast platforms. You can find me on Buzzsprout, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. I'm on YouTube. So if you're really enjoying the podcast and you want to show it a bit more support, then I would, really appreciate rate, review and subscribe. Thank you so much. Okay, let's move on to our Witch Weekly events, where I let you know what witchy or spiritual events are happening in and around South Devon and Cornwall. Starting with local covens that are seeking new members. So if you're a solitary witch looking to join a coven, this might be for you. Ros and Booker, one of Cornwall's longest established covens, hold meetings in North Cornwall and the Devon-Cornwall border. Applicants are welcome to introduce themselves via email and can visit their website for more information. The Cunning Grove is a witch and occult shop based in Plymouth. They currently hold the Coven of the Sacred Grove. They are a diverse group of witches from different paths that come together to learn and support each other. Within their coven, they break the year down into 4 seasons. The physical coven meets on a Tuesday and Thursday nights fortnightly. They also have an online coven with spaces available. Everyone is in a group together, and each week they drop different techniques and teachings from PDFs, slides, and videos. Joining the covens comes with a range of benefits. You can get money off the shop and services, and you can also make use of the coven library, which is for local members only. To join the physical coven, it's £30 per person, and if you want to join the online coven, that's £15. If you would like to get in touch, you can message them through their Instagram page or Facebook page. I've also added their email address in the show notes. Seren from Serendipity Healing holds 3 women's circles. These are Tuesday in Abbot Scarswell, Wednesday in Torquay and Thursday in Totnes, and they are all from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. Participants can choose the date and venue that suits them, and she covers the same information in each one. They happen every 3 weeks, so you can celebrate the Sabbath and connect to nature's cycles. And then you will have a session between each Sabbath to look inward. She teaches a variety of modalities. These include somatic movement, guided meditations, tarot and oracle cards, witch runes, exploring crystals, herbs, journaling, creative expression through arts and crafts, Reiki, Sekhem energy, drumming and sound, goddess work with the archetypes, meaningful ritual and ceremonies, and lots more. local witchy and spiritual events. Continuing with the Cunning Grove, on Wednesdays they hold a Witch and Stitch, which is a free weekly crochet, knitting and witchcraft session. And on Saturday mornings, they hold a free Witch and Brew session, which is a social with tea, talk, and it has a teaching focus. And you can find out more information via their website, which is linked in the show notes. Looking forward to this weekend. Tonight, the 16th of April, in Liskeard from 7 p.m. until 9:30 p.m, Megan Field is holding her Sacred Kerno Women's Circle, and it's looking at the inner child. Saturday, the 18th of April, from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m, the Mind, Body and Spirit Fair is being held in Liskeard at their public hall, and the entry is free. Also this Saturday, the 18th of April, from 10 a.m. until 4 p.m, Bude Park House Community Centre is hosting the Feel Good Festival, and entry here is also free. If you're interested in folk music, then the Launceston Folk Club is presenting Merry Hell. This is the 18th of April. Doors are open at 7:30 and the concert is at Launceston Town Hall. And the Museum of Witchcraft and Magic in Boss Castle has now reopened for the season. This is now open until the 31st of October, including bank holidays. So if you're in Cornwall or plan on making a visit down here and you want to make a pilgrimage to the museum, I would highly recommend it. And finally, just one more last announcement before the show ends. This episode is the final episode of Season 2 of the Cornish Witch podcast. For the month of May and the beginning of June, I have to prioritise some real-life boring work, the kind that keeps you surviving and keeps your bills paid. So I'm going to be taking a break from the podcast for that time. I will be back for Season 3. It will be midsummer, and the episode I will be starting with, we will have a guest returning to the show, which will be the lovely Rebecca Beattie, and we will be discussing the turning of the wheel of the year again for midsummer. So that's something to look forward to. In the meantime, lovely listeners that have sent in witchy events and retreats happening for the end of April or the month of May, I will put out an Instagram post on the Cornish Witch podcast Instagram page of your events that are happening, so people can still see them and still go along to them if they wish. And I just want to thank all of you so much for all of your support for these past 2 seasons. I really do have the most lovely listeners in the world. Obviously I'm biased, but there we go. And I really look forward to returning in the summer. And that is everything that I have for you for this episode. Thank you so much for listening to the Cornish Witch podcast. This podcast is an independent personal project created outside of my professional life. It exists as a space for conversation with witches, spiritual practitioners, and those walking their own paths, sharing lived practice, ritual, experience, and folklore often rooted here in Cornwall and the land itself. If you value these conversations and would like to support the continuation of the podcast, there is a voluntary link in the show notes. Listening will always remain free and there is no expectation to contribute. Whether you support here, listen quietly, or carry these stories onward by sharing them with others, thank you. Your presence honours the craft and keeps these tellings alive. May these stories find you when they are meant to. And until next time, may the path rise to meet you.